Hello, YouTubers and Cinephiles. Welcome back to another edition of Nerd With Me Reviews. I'm your host, John Ricky. Today's review is probably going to, hopefully will be a little bit shorter. I'm actually doing a makeup review right now for Kong Skull Island. Had to take care of a few things in my life. But hey, I'm back to give you my opinion on this movie. So let's get started. So, Kong Skull Island is an interesting thing right now for the fact that it is a film that's three things: remake, a reboot, and a prequel. Yes, Kong Skull Island is the present attempt at creating another cinematic universe. Of course, Universal is trying to do their Universal Monsters shared universe with the upcoming Mummy movie to start out with, the Invisible Man, so on and so forth. Of course, you have the Marvel universe. Everyone's trying to get on that Marvel universe money. But anyway, this is Warner Brothers' attempt to bring their shared universe, and this connects to, I believe it's a 2013 Godzilla film, which personally I really wasn't impressed by. But great visuals. So the reason why this film is all three of those categories that I just mentioned before is because this takes place in the 70s in the universe of Godzilla that takes place in present day. And it has a few cool things. I mean, it actually is kind of like a meshing of, if you know about the original King Kong, the 1930s King Kong, or maybe if you've seen the Peter Jackson's King Kong, basically a mesh of those two, and then mixed with the 1970s King Kong that starred a young Jeff Bridges and Jessica Lange. Well, she looked hot in that movie, by the way. Anyway, it's a nice little mesh of that with obviously a big budget attached to it. What's cool about this film is that it's actually a nice origin story for King Kong. Like with the original 30s version and even the Peter Jackson one, he's just there, he's this myth. But this one, you kind of get a little peek into the backstory of him, and he actually becomes the most central character outside of the human characters, which unfortunately most of the human characters are basically just cannon fodder. You have a whole bunch, basically every character in this film is a archetype. You have your scientist, you have the well-to-do social justice warrior who's happened to be a war photographer during the Vietnam War, Captain Ahab character in Samuel Jackson that wants to go after Kong because he lost, the Vietnam War. You have the tracker that they hire that's like just about his business, so on and so forth. And also a few military types that have like little storylines that go on but aren't really like expanded upon. But you know what? That actually might be a good thing because, hey, they put a lot of time and love into bringing you a Kong that is like really good. Really interesting. And he doesn't say a word. It's amazing. Actually, most of the time when Kong's gone, where is Kong in this film? You need Kong. You need more Kong. Now, the story is nothing new. I mean, you've seen it 100 times before. Here's how it goes. It starts out in World War II era. You see a bomber pilot and a Japanese pilot land on the island, or rather crash land on the island. They're fighting. Boom, they see Kong. Flash forward to the end of the Vietnam War. We come across Samuel Jackson, military commander, or colonel rather. He's a little bit downtrodden because, hey, they lost the war and they're about to go home. And suddenly they get this assignment from John Goodman and my boy Corey Hawkins, who played Dr. Dre in Straight Outta Compton, who need military escorts to this uncharted island that they want to explore and chart for the map. But of course, that's the cover story of what they really want to do. They want to see if there's these creatures out there. John Goodman wants to prove that there's creatures beyond humans. We are not the top of the food chain. We're just on the spectrum, and that's pretty cool. I mean, but it's the thinnest of storylines, and basically you get your money's worth with this movie. See Kong beat the crap out of fools. You go into his backyard, he's just protecting his island, and it turns out he's actually protecting it from these other creatures that are just as big or bigger than him, called skull crawlers, as by John C. Reilly, who is a revelation in this movie. He actually saves it most of the time. He has some of the best lines, one-liners, scenes. You know, he really breathes life into it. He's actually the fullest character in this whole movie. And to be honest, with the star power that they have in this film, they really didn't need them for this movie. You really could have just had a whole bunch of newcomers play all these characters, like Corey Hawkins, and I'm really forgetting the guy that hit the name of the guy that played Eazy-E, but they're both in here. Corey Hawkins as a scientist, the other guy as a military guy. They were good in their roles. And it was actually perfect for them because, hey, this is more exposure for them. But then you got the likes of John Goodman, John C. Reilly, Samuel L. Jackson, Toby Kebbell. The list goes up. Brie Larson. I mean, she just won an Oscar, and you really didn't need her in this movie. It could have been any other comparable actor or actress. But I mean, that's not taken away from it. It's just that, you know, that's just an observation. They really didn't need to be in here. I mean, because the storyline is really pretty standard. Oh, I forgot. Tom Hiddleston. Tom Hiddleston is wasted. And he looks like he's just getting a paycheck. Yeah. I mean, he's a very standard guy, and all these characters are very two-dimensional. But I will say this. It is a fun ride. It has very, very good visual effects. I mean, Kong looks great, and the action sequences involving Kong are pretty incredible. I mean, I was on the edge of my seat with everything that happened concerning Kong. But when Kong is gone, you feel his absence, and it's just bring back Kong. So, all in all, this movie was a nice, fun matinee price. I give it about a 7 out of 10 because, hey, it was worth seeing it. It definitely that's up good for a prequel to Godzilla and the eventual King Kong versus Godzilla movie that's coming a few years down the road. Hey, I'll give it 7 out of 10. Anyway, that's all I got for right now. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe, like, comment, things below. YouTubers and Cine Files, take care.